Welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be learning how to make a fishing rod so we can catch pufferfish. Not only just pufferfish, but other kinds of fish. I just thought a pufferfish be nice for this tutorial. I kind of like the Minecraft fish. Anyway, here's the fishing rod. It kind of works like the fishing jamboree one. As you can see, the beacon's a little messed up and everything, but I'll be sure to try to fix that during the tutorial. Anyway, you go ahead and click the fishing rod. The thing comes down, and then after a random amount of time, you should see some explosions. Then you click it, and you get your little fish, and it disappears. We'll fix the little bugs while we do this. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started by making a body of water. I will get a fishing rod in a second, but first of all we're going to just make a little body of water so we have somewhere to fish, because you can't fish on land. That's not how fish work, unless you want to make that how fish works. But anyway, go ahead and get periwinkle and glossy plastic. It honestly looks like the best water you've seen. So go ahead and place it down and go ahead and just manipulate it to make it as big as you want. Obviously it don't need to be a square, but I think using a square would be good because the hitbox might be a little weird with everything else. So just use this. And of course, just like any pool, we have bricks on the side of the pool to keep the water in. So let's get some gray bricks. Yeah, let's get some slate bricks and just make some nice pool walls over here, keeping the water in. And we have our nice little swimming pool. And yes, I know, fish don't swim in swimming pools, they swim in the ocean. But I'm not going to make an ocean right now. And let's forget about this edge and this edge. This is the edge of the map. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and separate the wall from the ocean. And let's give the ocean a tag. This will be used later. This is how we're going to attract the fishing rod. So don't make it decorational, otherwise it's not going to track it. We're going to scroll all the way down to the tag and give this the tag of either ocean, pool, river, whatever you want. I'm going to go with pool because that's the easiest one. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and get our fishing rod. So I downloaded one from the invention store. Should be around here somewhere. Or I can just type it in. Fishing rod. Yeah, here we go. This is the bad one. This is the good one, though. Okay, so go ahead and place it down. And we are going to get a animation chip. So type in ANI. The animation chip should come on up. We're going to place it right here. And we're going to get a trigger handle next. Trigger handle. Place the trigger handle down. So just place it down anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Connect it to the animation gizmo, the gold part. And then turn on the animation gizmo. This is going to allow it so the trigger stays in the air, so it's easier to edit it. And now we're going to move this up, and we're going to make this grabbable if it's not grabbable already. We don't need to have the sound effects on, but we can have the sound effect on if we want. I'm going to turn the sound effect on. Is it grabbable? Yes, it's grabbable. We don't need to do that. Okay, and we're going to get a clamp. And the clamp is just going to be used to clamp the fishing rod with the trigger handle. So after we get this, we are going to move our fishing rod to our trigger handle. Let's go ahead and scale up the fishing rod a little bit because it's looking a bit small. And make sure that you line up your fishing rod with your trigger handle. And then after you do that, just go ahead and place it kind of like this inside the fishing rod so people cannot see it. And then once you do that, go ahead and highlight your trigger handle if you can. It might be a bit hard. And then once you get that, connect it to the bottom of the clamp and connect this fishing rod to the top of the clamp. And this makes it so we can only grab the trigger handle, not the fishing rod. So we're going to turn off the grabbable thing on the fishing rod. And there we go. We got a fishing rod right here. Now, let's get a little into the circuits. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the fishing rod to track the water. I'm going to put the circuits up there so the fishing rod doesn't get in the way. So first what we're going to do is we're going to get a raycast. And the raycast will basically get something from a starting distance, and once it gets it from the start position in the direction, it will get whatever it's hitting and put it over here. We're going to get the max distance, and the max distance can be whatever you want. I'm going to have it 50 just so it can be long. The start position is going to be the start position is going to be the vector, so let's put a vector on our fishing gadget. So go ahead and type in vector, and once you get the vector component, place it right on the top of your fishing rod, and you are going to want to rotate it by 15 degrees. Well, honestly, you can rotate it however many degrees you want. I'm actually going to go with 30. 30 seems good. And once you do that, go ahead and line it up with the top. Okay, it's lined up with the top. And now that it's lined up with the top, let's go ahead and connect this vector component to our clamp. And now we are going to get the position of our vector component. So get a position chip. So type in get PO and it should come right up. And we are going to put the get position chip right next to the vector component. And this will be the starting position for the raycast, and the direction will obviously be the vector itself. So the raycast is basically going to draw an invisible line from the vector component to wherever it's facing, and that's how we're going to get the fishing rod to go to the water over here. And of course, we're going to make it so it will ignore players. You don't need to do that. It's just a little extra thing I like to do. Now what we're going to do is get a hashtag chip. And this is just going to get the tag of the object. This is where our pull tag comes in, because it's going to get the object that the vector is pointing to, which is going to be the pull, and that's how it's going to activate. But of course we have nothing for it to activate right now, so let's get something for it to activate. Let's get a laser pointer and place that at the top of the fishing rod. So we are going to get an if right here and a update 30 hertz a second. This way it will check constantly if it's above water or not. So put the event receiver right there and go to update 30 hertz a second. And connect the update 30 hertz a second to the if chip. Now it's constantly checking if it is looking at a pool or not. And now we're going to get a laser pointer. And what we're going to do with the laser pointer is we are going to place the laser pointer right at the top of our fishing rod. So just like the vector, place it, rotate it however much you rotated it. And of course you want to make sure the laser pointer is lined up well, because I know the laser pointer isn't the best thing to try to line up. And once you think you got it close enough to lining up, go ahead and move it backwards a little bit so it's at the top of the fishing rod. And of course you're gonna have to test this out. So I'm going to make the line of the rod white, and I'm going to turn the scale up to 50. The reason I'm turning it up to 50 is because the raycast is also 50, which is the max distance. And also, we're not going to be turning on the laser gadget until it actually hits water. So you can go ahead and put this up here. And you can actually connect this to here. I mean the thin chip on the if. So if it hits water, it's going to enable, but if it's out of the water, it's going to be disabled, like it is now. And of course, before we test this out, we're going to want to connect this to the gold part of the clamp, so it's all connected. And let's just go ahead and test out our little fishing rod. You'll see that it's a little off the center, but as you see, it is working. If we are pointing at the water, the laser is working. But if we aren't pointing at the water anymore, the laser turns off. And that is going to be the base of our fishing rod. And yeah, I know it acts a little weird with pointing over there and stuff. We can actually change the distance of the rope of the raycast and stuff, but we don't really need to worry about that. The next thing we're going to worry about is getting the hook into the ocean and then catching the fish. But of course, we're going to need a fish first. So I'm just going to type in fish and see what I get. I think I'll go with the puffer fish. Puffer fish is always great. So I'm going to place this down, and of course I'm going to make the fish physical. Make the fish physical. Optimize colliders. Is it grabbable? Yeah, it's grabbable. And I'm going to give this the tag of fish. Now, depending if you have many fish or just one fish, I'll put like fish 1, fish 2, or you can do something like that. And then, of course, I'm going to have can modify with circuits. That way, whenever I teleport it, it actually works. If you were going to teleport something, you need to modify with circuits. So now we are going to get the hook. We're just going to make something very simple. Just a spear on the ground. Let's place this spear right here. Let's make it a metal, because the fishing rod is metal, if I'm right. And just place it somewhere here. And we're going to go inside and configure it and give this the tag of hook. HOOK, and then we're going to can modify with circuit so we can teleport this to. This can be decorational. It does not need to be environmental. And now that we have our hook, let's go ahead and get it so it can teleport into the water. So we are going to get a transform chip. So type in transform. And it should come up. We're going to place it right next to the laser pointer. And we're actually going to get another if chip. So go ahead and just copy this one over if you really want. Or you can copy it down, it really doesn't matter. I'm actually going to place it down here since we're going to be connecting the stuff down here. Now, we have it so the laser turns on when we hovered over the pool, but what if we don't want it to turn on, have it on unless it's equipped? So we're going to connect this to the currently equipped. We are going to connect this to the thin output instead, and then connect the laser pointer to the thin output. So now, unless it's equipped, the laser is not going to turn on. That way, I can do something like this, and the laser won't turn on because it can get a bit glitchy if that happens. I remember one time I crashed during that. And now, since we have the transform, let's go ahead and connect that to the press action button. Oh, I'm sorry. Set transform, set position. We don't want to set transform. We want a set position. The reason we want set position is because the transform requires a quaternarian to work. And yeah, we're just going to work with vectors here. We don't need a quaternarian. So go ahead and get a position, connect it to the primary action pressed, and the target will be this hook down here. So get a rec room, get first object with tag, and then we're going to place it right here, and we are going to get whatever has a tag a hook, which is our hook down there. After we get the tag a hook, you'll see that this will say make a pin object because it's getting the tag of the hook that we made. Connect this to the target, and the position will be the hit position of our raycast. So if we go ahead and use this now and we click, we'll see it goes wherever our raycast goes. But of course, we only want this to work in the ocean. So we are going to make it so it only works in the ocean. Let's go ahead and reset it. Menu's always hard to get around. Okay, we are going to add another if chip. No, a lot of if chips, right? And this if chip is going to check if okay, so we are going to get the hashtag right here and connect it to here, because since we want it to only activate when it has a tag of water, it's going to do that. Then we're going to connect the thin chip to that. And now it's not going to work unless it's in the water. You hear me click it. Then once we're in the water, you'll see that it constantly will teleport there. And there we go. Let's reset this. And of course, I know that the hook doesn't look that great when it's in the water. We're going to go ahead and change that right now. So go ahead and get a vector, I think it's called vector create. Yeah, get a vector create chip. And then after you get a vector create chip, get a subtract chip. And once you get the subtract chip, we are going to get the hit position of the raycast, and we are going to subtract it by a y value. Now don't make it too high, otherwise it's going to not be that great. So I'm going to do 0.05, and you see how it's 21.25. The middle is the y value, and now it's 21.20. That way it will be halfway down in the water instead of sticking all the way out the water, and you see how it looks much better that way too. Let's go ahead and make our fishing rod decorational because it literally just pushed me out the way. Okay, now let's go ahead and get our beacon working. Remember, we're making this just like the fishing rod and fishing jamboree. So we need a beacon now. So go ahead and type in beacon. And the beacon should come up. We're just going to place it somewhere right here. Now, normally, if you went to any map, all these circuits will be under the map or somewhere hidden, so you can never see them. But since I'm just making a tutorial and we're just testing this, it's okay that they're out in the open. It's honestly easier that it's out in the open. Let's go ahead and scale it down to a good point, and then once we scale it down, let's go ahead and have the beacon go up here. Let's scale it up just a little bit. It's kind of too small. Okay, I think that's a good enough beacon. Then once you get a good scale on your beacon, go ahead and give it a tag if you want. I mean, you don't need to give it a tag. You can just keep it beacon. We are going to go ahead and have the height of the beacon be 1, or it could be lower, like 0.5. Really doesn't matter. We're going to make sure it's unsynced. And the reason we're making sure that it's unsynced is because if it's not unsynced, it's going to add up a lot of netcode. So make sure all your stuff is unsynced. And of course, you're gonna have to add multiple fishing rods. Um, you know, yeah, but make sure that it's unsynced. And now that you have the beacon, I'm pretty sure the tag of the beacon is just beacon, but we'll figure that out in a second. So let's go ahead and clone this Rec Room object. Get first with tag chip, and we are going to type in beacon. Beacon. And as you see, it's taking the beacon right here. So let's go ahead and get another position chip, another set position chip. And this one will be for the beacon. So we are just going, So we want the beacon to activate the second it hits the water. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect the beacon to right here because this enables the laser, and when it's currently equipped, it's also going to activate the beacon. Let's go ahead and move some of these circuits around. They seem kind of crushed up in one place. Okay, and now that we did that, let's go ahead and connect the beacon to our set position chip right here. You can also set it right here if you want, but I'm just going to use this chip. And the position is going to be the hit position. And now whenever my fishing rod hovers over it, you should see a beacon right where the laser is. You see it's a little, how should I say this? The beacon is ahead of the laser. You can fix that really easily if you want by making it so the beacon hops back a little bit. So just like with this chip, we are going to copy a vector and subtract. And what we're going to do is we are going to get the hit position again. And this time, besides affecting the Y value, yeah, besides affecting the Y value, we are going to affect the Z value instead because the Z value is forward and back. So go ahead and put 0 on the Y value and go ahead and put 0.05 on the Z value. So this way the beacon will hop back whenever we're doing this. You see how it went a little backwards and now it looks a little more lined up with the laser instead of what it was before. But that is nice. Now let's get the fishing part started, which is the part everybody was waiting for. Of course, everyone was waiting for that. So now that we have this, we are going to get an int variable because an int variable is literally something you use in everything. If there was one chip that you use more than anything, I would say it's the int variable. I mean, yeah, I guess the equals is used a lot too, but you know, I think the int variable is used quite a bit more. So we're gonna try to fit this in the middle. If this doesn't work, you might want to just move it out to the side. But it looks like it's gonna fit in the middle. Now we don't need to name this, but of course, like I always say, you probably want to name your int variables. So name this fishing or something, I don't know. And it don't need to be synced or be a cloud variable. Just make sure to name it fishing and have it add 1 when you click on this. So when you click, it will send out the hook in the water. But before it sends out the hook in the water, we're going to actually connect it here so it adds a 1 to here. And what this is going to do is this is going to tell our next system that, oh, this has a 1. Okay, and now what we're going to do is copy the int variable again. Well, actually, we're going to get a greater than chip, greater than or equal to. It can be either. I'll just get a greater than or equal to. There's not really much of a difference. And let's just place it down here because it's getting really, really crowded up there. Let's clone the if chip. And we are going to connect this to the int variable. And like I said, it's going to check if it's 1 or 2 or anything. What we are going to do is we are going to check. We are going to check if this is greater or equal to 2. So we are going to go ahead and connect this to the if chip, the greater or equal to chip. Let's go ahead and move this back a little bit. We want all our circuits kind of grouped up in one location, kind of makes it easier to work with. You don't need an interaction volume, but I honestly think the interaction volume is kind of important. So let's go ahead and place our interaction volume right here. Let's make sure it kind of goes down a little bit. Let's rotate it so it matches the fishing rod. And let's just manipulate it so it is on that little square that we see right here. Okay, looking pretty good. And of course, we're gonna also connect this to the clamp so it follows the fishing rod. Everything we have to connect to the top of the clamp, because if we don't, it's not gonna follow the fishing rod. And we could have it say wait or reel in, but I'm just going to have it say reel in. And we're going to have it so we don't need anything synced. So just go ahead and turn off the sync. We don't need nothing synced. And now wherever I hold my fishing rod, it's going to say reel in. And let's actually get the water effects going. So when we get the hook in the water effect actually rolls. Because as of now, we put the hook in the water and there's no water effect when the fish comes up. So let's go ahead and get a emitter. And of course, the water effect could be better. But I'm just going to use a emitter because you know what? It honestly doesn't matter. As long as the person knows that the fish is there, it shouldn't really be a problem. Go ahead and scale down the emitter a little bit. Move the emitter circuit board up and get another clamp so we can clamp these together. And the hook is going to go on the clamp. And I mean the bottom part of the clamp, and the emitter is going to go on the top part of the clamp. The emitter is going to be set on loop. And the size is going to be 1 and the speed is going to be bumped all the way up to 10. The particle type is going to be an explosion effect. We're going to have this unsynced of course, and the color of it is going to be the same as our water, which is periwinkle. This way we have a water effect whenever we cast it in. So let's go back to when we cast it in. So if we press the interaction on the trigger handle, it adds the one here. It goes here to set this up. And then once it sets the hook in, we are going to actually get a random number chip. Well, it's called a random float, but you know. So type in random, and random float should be your second chip. We are going to place it right here. And we can have it random if we want, or not random. I like to have it random. So maybe I'll set it to waiting for at least 5 seconds to 15 seconds or something like that. I'm not trying to waste people's time just sitting here for an entire minute waiting for fish. So I'll change that to 15. Of course, we'll have a delayed chip. So get a delayed chip. And we are going to connect the value to the delay chip. Connect this to the run chip so it runs the delay. And then after the delay, it is going to start playing the emitter, which is the water effect. And once it does that, we are actually going to get another int variable with the add. Now this is going to be named something different. I know I'm copying this one, but I'm just copying it so we don't have to get to add chip and things again. But yeah, go into the int variable and change the name to like I don't know, fishing hook or something, maybe fishing 2. Just change the name to something. And once you change the name, go ahead and submit it. And what was they going to connect to this again? Oh yeah, once the water starts, we are going to connect this here, and this will tell us when we can hit the reel on the fish. So sorry, we're actually going to disconnect this. We don't need to connect that. We're going to connect this instead. So let's go ahead and move these chips over. Then move them down a bit. Okay, and then once you're done doing that, we are going to make this greater or equal to 1. And then we're going to connect this to the interaction volume, which is, we're going to connect this to the on use of the interaction volume. Let's bring our interaction volume up here. We don't need it down there. Okay. And then after we click that and it's true, it's going to spawn the fish in front of us. So get another set position chip. This will be the last one we need. Then we're going to get another Rec Room object, get first with tag. We are going to change the tag to fish because that's our fish. After we change it to fish, go ahead and go to the target. And then if this is true, if the water is going and you hit the interaction volume, then it's going to spawn the fish in front of you. Of course, we're going to want to change the vector so it doesn't exactly spawn in front of us or on us. We want to have it spawn in specific location. So what we are going to do is we are going to get the position of, I would say get the hit position, but we actually don't want to get the position of that. We want to get the position of the trigger handle or the position of the player with the trigger handle. Doesn't matter as long as we get the position of one of them. So get a get position chip. I think I just got set position chips. Oh no, the get position chip is down here. Okay, go ahead and copy the get position chip, and whether you want to get the position of the player or the trigger handle is up to you. I'm gonna get the position of the player. So get the position of the player with the trigger handle, and once you get the position of the player, we are going to go ahead and add to that instead. So maybe we add a 1, and now we're going to connect it here. And don't worry about the error. The only reason we're getting the error is because there's an invalid player holding it. But once I'm holding it, it's going to stop. And of course, once you catch the fish, it's going to reset everything. So go ahead and get this int variable and get this int variable, and also get a Rec Room reset object. It should be here, Rec Room object reset, and we're going to place a reset object at the not the beacon, the hook. We want to reset the hook once we finish. So once you catch the fish, it sets a position of fish, it's going to reset the hook, and it's also going to reset the int variables. Is besides of having this be 1, we're going to be having this be negative, and 1 didn't seem far enough, so let's have this be -2 instead. And actually, I think I'm going to add that int variable back. The reason I want to add that int variable back is because if I don't do that, I can go ahead and grab the fishing rod and just keep placing this over and over again. And you can see how that's not exactly good. And you see how that is kind of spamming and not stop. Oh, that's what I forgot. I knew I was forgetting something. I forgot to put a stop on the emitter over here. So we are going to go ahead and connect this. Obviously, we're going to have it add 1. Connect this back. We're going to connect this back over here so it resets. And since this starts the water, after the delay goes here. And sorry, it's early in the morning. We are also going to get another random float. The reason for this random float is so if you don't catch the fish in time, it's just going to run away and reset everything. So usually I have this set to like 3 to 5 seconds, nothing big or anything. Then we're going to get another delay chip, obviously. And then once it runs, after the delay, if you don't capture the fish, everything is just going to reset. Just like if you did catch the fish. But if you do catch the fish, I mean, that's good for you. You caught the fish. But like I said, we're going to stop you from being able to spam this. Oh, I need to add a stop to that, don't I? So I am going to connect this to the emitter right here to stop it. And of course, the after the delay does the same thing. So now when we do this, it should go ahead and stop that once it's done respawning. Now, like I said, I'm going to add a and once you get an equals to chip, go ahead and place it right here. We're kind of running out of room. Yeah, just place it somewhere with room. Get an equals chip, get a if chip. And once we do that, we are going to get this and make sure that it's equal to 1, less than chip. Don't get less than or equal to, we just want a less than chip. So go ahead and replace your equals chip. And if this is less than 1, when you click it, then it will add 1. And it will do the exact same thing, but you see, if you click 1 again, it's going to go to false. And it's just going to go ahead and reset everything. So let's say that you're kind of trigger happy. Let's say that you want to keep clicking. If you click again, it's going to reset everything. Just gonna keep resetting everything. Except the explosion. I am going to have it also reset the explosion too. So whenever it goes over here to reset everything, it's also going to cancel out the delays too. And there we go. We have a nice little fishing system. Let's go ahead and reset the room real quick so this can stop playing, looping. I don't know why this is still playing. Uh, turn this off. Okay, good. So if we get the fishing rod, we'll click on this. We wait for the fish. It's obviously not connected to the hook, but just pretend that it is connected to the hook. Then once we see the explosion, we reel in the fish, and wow, what do you know? We got ourselves a fish. And also, as you can see, if I try to click again, it just resets and the explosion does not go off. We got a nice little simple fishing mini game right here. It could be a little better, but I think I did what I wanted to do here. So if you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.